Imagine surviving a battlefield, saving countless lives, only to come home and face mockery for the scars you carry. Daniel Morgan, a decorated combat medic, wore the marks of his bravery, but they didn't bring admiration, just whispers and ridicule. What if one moment, one person, could change everything? This is a story of courage, redemption, and how the power of recognition can shatter judgment. Stay with us to witness how one young act of respect transformed Daniel's life and how he proved that heroes don't need medals, they need to be seen for who they truly are. Can you imagine the courage it takes to face the world with scars that tell a story of sacrifice? Daniel Morgan, 38, carried those scars from his days as a combat medic in the Fallujah campaign 5 years ago.
Oh, how he risked everything.
Severely burned while dragging a fellow soldier from a flaming Humvee after an IED tore through their convoy, the explosion left half his face and neck a canvas of pain, etched forever in his skin.
After his medical discharge,
Daniel turned away from the military world. Why relive the trauma? He shunned veterans groups and reunions that might have offered solace, choosing instead the quiet of a riverside town, far from prying eyes or familiar faces. In that small town, he found work as a waiter at Riverside Diner, a humble spot where he could earn an honest living. But could he ever escape the stares? Each day, he faced whispers, the way parents clutched their children tighter as he neared their tables. Yet Daniel adapted, didn't he? He perfected a system, approach from the right, his less scarred side, speak softly, place dishes with care, and slip away. Manager Mike, oh, how he hesitated to put Daniel out front. He suggested kitchen work, a place to hide, but Daniel stood firm. Hide? Never. He refused to let his scars define him completely. On a bustling Saturday afternoon, as Daniel balanced a tray of drinks, cruel snickers pierced the air. A group of high school teens, barely 16, nudged each other, pointing slyly. One boy, bold and thoughtless, raised his phone, pretending to snap a selfie but capturing Daniel's scarred profile instead. "Check this out," he hissed to his friends, straight out of a horror movie. Can you believe the audacity? Daniel heard every word, his hearing sharpened since the explosion, as if his body sought to compensate for its wounds. He kept walking, face blank, but inside, oh, the sting of humiliation burned deep, yet his grip on the tray never faltered. Nearby, retired Army Sergeant Carl Wilson sat with his teenage son Alex, discussing college applications. But wait, what caught Carl's eye? As Daniel delivered water to a neighboring table, his sleeve shifted, revealing a tattoo, a medic's cross, intertwined with the unmistakable mark of the 3rd Battalion, 5th Marines, Carl's unit from Fallujah. His fork froze mid-air. Could it? His gaze traced Daniel's scarred face, seeing past the damage to the man beneath. Recognition hit like a thunderbolt. "Dad?" Alex asked, sensing his father's stillness. "What's wrong?" But Carl's eyes were locked on Daniel, watching as Alex and his friends snickered, snapping another photo as the waiter turned away. Without a word, Carl grabbed his son's wrist, forcing the phone down. "Alex," he growled, voice low and fierce. "You just did the worst thing I've ever seen you do." Alex's smirk faded. "It's just a picture, Dad, for laughs." Carl's stare never wavered from Daniel's retreating figure. "That man? He's not what you think, not even close. If you believe good people deserve respect, stay here with us." Carl, a veteran of 18 years, had been a platoon sergeant in Fallujah, same as Daniel, though in different companies. He knew the legends, didn't he? They called Daniel the Doc, the medic who carried 4 men through enemy fire. A young hero who, despite horrific burns, returned to a blazing vehicle again and again to save injured Marines. The last man he pulled out, Lieutenant James Wilson, Carl's eldest son. James survived, though he walks with a limp even now. And here, unbelievably, that same hero was clearing tables in a small-town diner, enduring mockery for his scars. Can you fathom the injustice? "Alex, give me your phone," Carl demanded, his tone ironclad. "Dad, what's the big deal? We were just..." Alex handed it over, reluctant. Carl deleted the photos, then stood abruptly. "Stay here," he ordered, striding to the manager's station where Mike, a balding man in his 50s, pored over receipts. "Excuse me," Carl said, urgency in his voice. "The waiter with the burn scars, can I speak with him privately?" Mike shifted. Uneasy. "Daniel's on shift. Is there a problem with your service?" "No problem," Carl replied. "I need to thank him for something from long ago." Mike vanished into the kitchen, returning with a frown. "He doesn't want to talk to anyone. He's private about his past." Carl nodded, understanding all too well. Men like Daniel often craved anonymity over accolades, didn't they? He scribbled his name and number on a napkin. "Give him this. Tell him it's from Lieutenant Wilson's father. He'll know." That evening, Carl sat at his computer, staring at a blank comment box in a private Facebook group for Iraq campaign veterans. His fingers trembled. Could he do justice to this moment? Then he typed, "Today I saw a hero mocked in a waiter's uniform. The doc, who saved my son and others during Operation Phantom Fury, serves meals in my hometown facing ridicule for scars earned. I saw a hero mocked in a waiter's uniform. The doc, who saved my son and others during Operation Phantom Fury, serves meals in my hometown, facing ridicule for scars earned, saving Marines' lives. What have we become when we fail to recognize the cost of service, standing right before us?" By midnight, the post had been shared 97 times across veteran networks. By morning, it reached thousands of veterans and military families across 3 states. Meanwhile, Alex's friends posted their cruel photos of Daniel online, oblivious to the storm brewing. Within hours, veterans and active duty service members flooded the post with comments. "That's combat medic Daniel Morgan," one wrote. "You're disrespecting a man who saved more lives in one day than you'll ever touch." Daniel, though, remained unaware, working his Sunday shift with his head down. But something was different, wasn't it? Customers' eyes held recognition, not revulsion. Late that afternoon, a letter arrived at the diner, addressed to Doc Morgan. Inside a note, "You carried me 2 kilometers under enemy fire when my legs were shattered. If you're washing dishes, I'll mop floors. Some debts can never be repaid. How to become a grateful Marine." Mike placed it in the break room, his view of his quiet waiter shifting. "Oh, what a revelation. Type unfair if you believe no one should be ridiculed for scars earned protecting others." Monday morning brought a sight to behold at Riverside Diner. By 7, a dozen men and women in crisp military dress uniforms filled the restaurant, each with a card by their water glass. "Thank you, Doc." By 8:00 a.m., their numbers doubled. The diner, usually sleepy on Mondays, buzzed with Marines, Army, and Navy personnel, all poised, respectful, waiting. For what? For Daniel. He arrived at 8:30, unaware of the tribute awaiting him. Stepping inside, he froze, taking in the sea of uniforms. Run, hide, his instincts screamed retreat, but something held him fast. Mike approached, voice shaky. "Daniel, these people, they're here for you." "I didn't know." His words caught. "I didn't know who you were." Can you feel the weight of that moment? Can you feel the weight of a moment that changes everything? Daniel Morgan stepped into the break room, his movements mechanical, as if on autopilot. He tied on his apron, hands trembling ever so slightly, as he prepared to face the sea of uniforms waiting outside. Could he do this? He filled water glasses, his face a mask of composure, but inside, oh, his heart must have been racing. As he approached the first table of Marines, a gunnery sergeant stood tall and snapped a crisp salute. "Doc Morgan." The sergeant's voice boomed through the silent diner. "Thank you for not leaving anyone behind that night." Daniel froze, clutching the water pitcher like a lifeline. A handshake was offered. Could he accept it? After a heartbeat's hesitation, he did, their hands meeting in a quiet moment of respect. One by one, the veterans came forward. Some were comrades from his Fallujah days, their faces etched with shared memories. Others just fellow warriors, standing in solidarity. A woman in sharp navy dress blues approached, her eyes soft with gratitude. She handed Daniel a small box containing a purple heart. "Her father's," she said. "He was one of the men you saved." He passed last year, but he made me promise to return this to you. He called you the true hero of Fallujah." Can you imagine the weight of that honor? By mid-morning, news crews swarmed outside, their cameras hungry for the story unfolding, with Mike, the manager who just days ago suggested Daniel hide in the kitchen because his scars unsettled customers, now stood before those same cameras. "We're honored to have a hero like Daniel on our team," he declared, his voice brimming with pride. Oh, how his perspective had shifted. Then Carl Wilson arrived, flanked by his sons, Alex and Lieutenant James Wilson. James, with his pronounced limp, made a beeline for Daniel. "You probably don't remember me," he started. But Daniel, ever precise, cut in softly. "Third vehicle in the convoy. Fractured femur, shrapnel in your lower back. You kept trying to stand even with your leg broken." The two men embraced. A moment so raw it silenced the room as cameras clicked furiously. James turned to his younger brother. "Alex has something to say." The teenager, who'd mocked Daniel with cruel photos, stood before him, face burning with shame. "I'm sorry," Alex mumbled, barely audible. "I didn't know. I was stupid. Cruel, there's no excuse." Daniel studied the boy's face, his own expression unreadable. Then, with a quiet strength, he said, "I forgive you. Just remember, no one chooses their wounds, but we all choose how we treat each other." Oh, what wisdom in those words. By afternoon, the internet had transformed. Gone were the mocking photos, replaced by images of Daniel surrounded by veterans, shaking James's hand, serving tables with unshakable dignity, despite the chaos. Could there be a more powerful testament to his character? During a rare lull, Mike approached, his voice heavy with regret. "Daniel, I owe you an apology. When customers complained about your appearance, I should have stood up for you. Instead, I suggested you work less visible shifts. I was wrong." Daniel nodded, accepting the words with his usual grace. Before the diner closed, Mike unveiled a new sign by the entrance. "Proud to have American heroes on our staff. Medal of Honor nominee Daniel Morgan serves here." Can you picture the pride in that moment? That evening, as Daniel wiped down tables, Carl lingered, waiting for a quiet moment. "Why here, Daniel?" he asked, genuine curiosity in his voice. "With your record, you could have any job working with veterans, military liaison roles." Daniel paused, choosing his words carefully. "Because here, I'm just Daniel. Not a sad story, not a poster boy, not a reminder of anyone's worst day. Or at least, I was." Carl nodded, understanding the heavy burden of heroism that civilians could never grasp. Oh, how profound that truth. The next morning, Riverside Diner was a sight to behold. A line of customers, veterans, military families, townsfolk, stretched around the block, all eager to shake Daniel's hand or simply be served by him. Even the teenagers who'd mocked him were there, humbly passing out flyers for a Wounded Warriors fundraiser. "Have you ever made the right choice when everyone else walked away?" The flyers read, "Your story matters too." Could redemption be any clearer? A month later, a letter from the Pentagon arrived, inviting Daniel to a ceremony honoring battlefield medic. A Medal of Honor, recommended years ago, but delayed by red tape, might finally be his. But Daniel, he folded the letter and tucked it into his locker. Attend? No way. The spotlight clashed with the quiet life he'd carved out. "You're not going?" Mike asked, stunned when Daniel shared his decision. "I'm good right here," Daniel replied. "I don't need medals or ceremonies. I just want normal days where people see me. Not my scars, not my past." Oh, the strength in that choice. The diner had changed, hadn't it? Customers who once avoided Daniel now requested his section. Veterans still came, but they honored his wish for normalcy, treating him as Daniel the waiter, not Doc the hero. One Tuesday morning, a handwritten card awaited him on his break room chair. "Your scars are medals we cannot wear for you." Unsigned, but Daniel knew Alex Wilson's handwriting. Peering through the service window, he saw Alex and his classmates, not with phones raised in mockery, but with notebooks open, learning first aid from an off-duty paramedic. Mike had donated the space for weekly classes, inspired by Daniel himself. "Service feels like the least we can do," Mike said with a shrug. As Daniel watched the teens practice tourniquets and bandages, skills he'd once used under fire, something stirred deep within. Was there value in being seen, scars and all? Honor isn't in medals or uniforms, is it? It lives in those who bear wounds yet hold no hatred. A quiet man clearing tables once held the power of life and death, saving an entire platoon's final breaths. Have you ever been judged by your appearance alone? Share your story. Your experiences deserve respect too. Hey Dad, look at the waiter's face. Isn't it gross? A teenager sneered, snapping a secret photo as his table stifled laughter. The waiter, head bowed, silently wiped spilled coffee. Probably a gas explosion, someone muttered, but the father froze. Beneath the waiter's collar, a faded Special Forces tattoo caught his eye. A symbol he knew too well. Type unfair if mocking others feels utterly wrong.